know what episode number this is. It really doesn't matter because you're probably just going to watch them in order, whatever the heck you want. I haven't recorded in the past few days. Yesterday, I took some time to get drunk. Well, I said I wasn't going to do it, but whatever. Sometimes you have to let loose. And the day before, I had spent so much time trying to update one of my websites that I was just really flustered with the entire process. Basically what happened is my coronabalona.com website is being somewhat censored by WordPress, and that I am not allowed to just post whatever number of articles that I want directly on WordPress. I have to somehow tag them and categorize them, and I'm not really supposed to give my opinion on them, which is just really wild, since I thought I could share the articles that other people wrote. And these are not, of course, these aren't articles like the My Pillow Salesman. They're not from Q sources. They're basically from academic papers, sometimes internationally sourced, but basically talking about some of the long-term effects of COVID, as well as some of the ways to identify some of the symptoms. I wasn't able to just share that, and I was running into a lot of problems. And at first I was like, well, this must be some weird conspiracy theory against me. And then I was like, that's really messed up. That's not how I think. I'm not into conspiracy theories. So I called the hosting company several times. The first few people hung up on me. The last one finally admitted they do have some standards, at least according to WordPress, and how they want these things disclosed, and that later on it may change, but right now it does require a certain amount of categorization. Now, you know me, I don't even want to edit these. Now, part of me not wanting to edit them is I'm just sick of seeing my face and hearing my voice. The other one is just taking a lot of effort. The COVID site that I had was supposed to be just a whole aggregate of all the articles that I had found, predicting a lot of the problems that we may have in the future, so I thought it would be relevant information. It is relevant, but right now I'm going to have to change hosting companies in order to get my message out there without having to adhere to WordPress standards. This does mean that, of course, I will probably be penalized by the search engines, but I figure coronabalona.com is probably where people are going, thinking they're going to find something that will confirm their bias, that it's a joke. The whole point of me buying it was that I kind of wanted to kind of expose different people that may be a little more prone to other ideas, and kind of have it be that the joke wasn't a joke. The joke's on you. Anyway, let's talk about food. As you can see here, this is actually breakfast. So in terms of what I'm going to recommend in terms of what you eat, very basic searches will give you hard, healthy foods. We all know the things that you're supposed to eat and the ones that you're not. The one thing that I've been trying to do, or this is something that I'm going to be very focused on the next few weeks, is maintaining a really healthy diet. Berries in the morning, always. I've got walnuts in here too, both of those things. Blueberries and walnuts are really good for your brain, have a lot of vital nutrients. Also great at helping to lessen blood pressure, which is great. In terms of lunches and that kind of stuff, no, I did buy salmon because I try to have salmon twice a week. I'm trying to have an avocado every day. I try to incorporate mushrooms as much in my diet as I can. So typically what ends up happening is I'll have breakfast. Sometimes it's a cachava shake. They have pretty decent meal replacement shakes. Or it's going to be yogurt with granola and berries. Maybe eggs with vegetables, maybe a little cheese. I make little breakfast tacos often enough. Then for lunches, I'm planning on doing some lentil and rice dishes, as well as a tahini, lemon dressing all over everything, and just try to get my share of vegetables every day before I have this surgery. Now, usually in the evening, we get meal boxes because they're great. They just pre-portion everything out. They allow you to have some variety without having to think too long. And actually, I'm a huge fan of having multiple textures. I'm not great with leftovers because I get bored with texture and then I'm bored with the food. My husband could eat the same thing every day, probably for weeks, and not care. Not how I like it. I like difference. So that's typically what I'm doing in the evening is I'm having some meat dishes. Now I have cut down a lot of processed meat pretty heavily. I don't really have beef more than once a week, maybe once every few weeks. So I just try to be really cognizant of that. Now, if you try to maintain a really healthy diet, it's going to actually just set you up obviously better, just in terms of going in with more managed blood pressure, possibly a little healthier internally, just giving your surgeon and your recovery the best basic canvas that you have, that you can possibly come up with, I think is of value. Is my diet going to make me survive versus die in this next surgery? I don't know. I'm just trying everything. Everything I know that can help. And again, let's just emphasize this. I'm huge into prevention. I'm not one of those people who likes to react later. I like to solve the problem before it becomes a problem. And I think that's useful. Anyway, hit subscribe if you care about any of these tips. This is just like my recommendations. The next episode, and I might do multiple ones today, we're going to talk about supplementation and the things that I've been doing, just in terms of extra supplements. A lot of it is stuff that they kind of recommend to you post-operatively. Again, prevention, I think is key here. I hope I got it through in this take, because I don't want to talk anymore. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.